For 30 years, I've been in the dressing room with these women
Yeah.
that I was making over. And I always say, you can't build the house until you look at the foundation. So I would say to all these women, I've done makeovers on 20 years on Live with Regis and Kelly, Steve Harvey, right? Like every Hallmark Home and Family. These women would go in the dressing room and I'm like, look, we're going to bond. I'm going to ask you to feel comfortable and stand there in front of me in your underpinnings, in your bra, in your panties. I need you to look at your body. I will shut my eyes. I will hold your hand. But if you don't embrace your body and say, that's me at this moment, you can't move forward.
This is StRest. I'm Kerstin Lindquist, health coach, author, and Emmy award-winning TV host. I've committed to helping people reduce stress through impressive health science, attainable mindset change, and biblical truth. Let's have a real conversation with zero judgment and endless solutions that you can use. You aren't alone. You can do this. Let me help you reduce stress and make room for rest. Lawrence Zarian is one of the most sought-after on-camera lifestyle and fashion experts in the television industry today. He has over 20 years in making women feel beautiful, and it's all culminated in the last couple of years with his own line on QVC of the same name, Beautiful. He's also a highly acclaimed author. You find him on KTLA, on the Kelly Clarkson show, but of course, we all fell in love with him as he brought his product line to QVC. He became a quick friend of mine through a very traumatic time in my life, and you're going to hear all about that in my conversation with my good friend, Lawrence Zarian. Hi, friend. How are you?
I'm good. It's so good to see you.
It's so good to see you too. Set us up. Tell us your story, how you got to where you are right now, and specifically to making women feel so beautiful on QVC.
It's interesting. I think that God moves all of us like chess pieces. I feel like we're meant to where we're supposed to be, to learn the lesson, to live our life, and then lean into that and then move forward. And with this evolution of QVC, I've learned so much. And I remember vividly on my first big meeting with the entire team, all the bosses, Rachel Ungaro, the design team. At the end of my pitch, because it was basically me selling myself and my brand, Beautiful by Lawrence Zarian, one of them asked me, where did this start? And I was catapulted, Kerstin, to this moment with my mom as a little boy sitting on the bathtub, watching her get ready to go out with my dad. And it never had come to me. I've always loved making women feel beautiful, always. It's always been just a part of my thing. But I remember watching my mom get dressed, and there was something about it that was just so transformative. And obviously that was the moment. My mom worked hard. My mom was born during World War II. My mom saw the ravages of the war. My mom saw such horror in her lifetime. My mom was in a first marriage that ended, unfortunately, with abuse. So my mom meets my dad, this woman that really didn't have tools to live her life. Unfortunately, she was an alcoholic. All these, just like the domino effect of the hand that you were dealt. 3 children, married to a man that was very powerful and strong. My dad was born in a third world country. So these 2 people came together, had 3 kids. But there was something in this moment where she stopped becoming my mom and something changed. She put on her makeup, and my mom had a little beauty mark. So she would always get her little eyeliner pencil and she would fill in the mark. She thought it was very much like Liz Taylor. My mom looked like Liz Taylor. But something happened when she put on the dress. Something magical happened. She put her cigarette down. She took the final sip of her drink. She sprayed her perfume on. She stepped into this dress. And every picture of my mom dressed up with my dad, something different happened. It was magical. It was powerful. And I really do believe the apple fell close to the tree, because as my mom then navigated her life, once she separated from my dad, they got a divorce, she started working in retail. She worked at Macy's. She worked at Robinson's May. These are old school. Macy's is still around. She worked at I. Magnin. And for somebody that's old school, she was a shop girl at I. Magnin. And she started selling bras, undergarments, underpinnings. And longer story short, when our mother passed, there was this box of all these cards that all her customers would send to her saying, Doris, thank you for helping me feel beautiful. Thank you for finding that perfect bra. Thank you. So I think all of that is what planted those seeds to A, be the ultimate mama's boy. I love women. I love
Mhm.
mother. You and I have a very sweet connection. You're a
Yeah.
mom. There's something about that. So I feel by all of that and my journey on television doing makeovers for every major TV show, I feel that's what led me to QVC. That's why I'm put here to help women feel beautiful at every shape and size. I feel that is what God wants from me.
And how are you doing it? I mean, at QVC, it has been amazing. Your line is now a couple years old, right?
Year in January, year and only I still have new car smell. A year and
Wow.
3 months.
I feel like you've always been a part of the family.
Oh, that's very sweet. That touches me deeply. Thank you. Can I say something? I do too.
Yeah. Yeah.
I really feel with every host, every person, every designer, everyone I've met, I'm like, huh, wow, this is what I've been waiting for. This is
Yeah.
where I'm meant to be. This is where I'm supposed to end up. This is my home.
It is a place where unless you are I use good person loosely because that can mean a lot of things to different people, but unless you are a good, true, authentic person, you're really not gonna make it in the QVC family. You are so that. Lawrence and I bonded, I guess it's only been just over, not even a year now that we kind of, when you work at QVC, you are very much, you give your heart and soul. You can't be somebody else off air that you are on air. And I was on air with him and I was going through a struggle with addiction within my own family. And it was a God thing. He said
Backstage,
something and it was backstage. He said something and you said something about addiction. And I turned to him and I said, "Oh my goodness, I'm going through this. Can you help?" And I literally and figuratively collapsed onto Lawrence. This guy who I'd maybe worked with once before, knew he was wonderful, but we weren't close. And that intimacy and vulnerability just bred friendship.
and here's the thing. Again, I say it all the time. We are moved like chess pieces. God has the master hand and moves us to where we're meant to be and what we're supposed to do. I shouldn't be here. I should be dead. Alcohol and drugs are a big part of my story, a big part of my life. I've been sober almost by the grace of God through a 12-step program for almost 20 years. My mother died, sweet Doris died at 58 from this
Wow.
disease. So I, number one, scream it from the rooftops. Number two, that is again what I'm meant to do. Tell other people because as we know, like especially right now with what's going on in the world, it's a very heavy time, a very tumultuous time. And what people want is they want to find their tribe. They want to share their story so they don't feel so well. Oh, I'm going through it too. Oh, I can relate to that. If we share one story and somebody else echoes it back, we're not alone. Somebody else is saying the same story. So with you
Yeah.
backstage, you obviously needed something. And that was just to be seen, to be heard, to be covered in love and God's grace. And I'll never forget that moment. It was powerful. It was poignant. It was what was meant to be. And hopefully, through God's direction and orchestration, it was a healing salve that helped you navigate the turmoil that was happening at that moment in your family.
Yeah. And it was. And this is the kind of guy that Lawrence is. He's like, "Here's my phone number. We're going to talk." And he called and he checked in and he texted over and over again in the next few days, weeks, months. And I know that I could always call and text him. And here's the thing, and I talk about this a lot on this podcast because we do talk about moving from stress to rest. Two biggest stressors that you're going to have in your life are going to be work and relationships. And relationships, part of that can be that you need to set up boundaries with people who are unhealthy in
Mhm.
your life. But just as big a part of that is that you need to take down some boundaries and be vulnerable with somebody and be able to share your story, like Lawrence is talking about. So for me to go, okay, here's this celebrity guy who I don't really know, who I just cried all over. And then he gave me his phone number. And for me to be able to be vulnerable enough to actually use the phone number, that's scary, right? Because we have a lot of ego and pride in our lives. But knowing that in order for me to make it through this stressful season of life, I had to do that. And then the beautiful friendship that comes out of it. This is where you have to be able to put yourself out there, my friends.
Nothing's going to happen. Here's what I have found. I'm going to be 60, which is
How's that
baffling.
possible?
I
Yeah.
I mean, no, it's serious. It's seriously like whatever. I have an identical twin, Gregory. Literally, I call him my gift with purchase. You know, when you leave a great party and you get the gift bag, I always say to Gregory, "You're my gift with purchase." Because my mom found out that morning she was having twins, had no idea, had no
No.
idea.
Wow.
Sweet Doris had no idea. So I call him my gift with purchase. But where we're at is we just say, if you don't drink, if you don't use, nothing will happen. If you pick up the phone and call someone, one of two things will happen. It's not well received, and you did something different. So maybe you call the wrong person. You just call somebody else. It's seriously so simple. Our ego, our want to be seen a certain way. I'm turning 60. You either like me or not. I'm tired of all the BS. I'm tired of because I think we all tap dance. We're in a business where I want you to love me. I want you to like me. I want all of that has suited me until a point. Because as we talk about stress and fatigue and tired and healthy choices, the healthy choice is choosing yourself. You put on your oxygen mask first, and then you get to help, you get to heal, you get to live your life.
So walk us down your path because I do want to get into the stress of being who Lawrence is, but walk us down your path through addiction and owning who you are. What's the story there?
Let's tell you this, Doris, being 60, they didn't know that drinking caused birth defects. They didn't know that smoking, Dr. Phyllis Moeller, my mother said, have a glass of wine. And when you say to an alcoholic, have a glass of wine, green means go. And again, I just need to say this. I don't fault my mother for being an alcoholic. I don't know how you see the tragedy, the devastation, the heartbreak of World War II and survive. I just don't. We see it in history books. I just don't know. And she did. And then she came to this country and was in her first marriage and he was abusive. I don't know. I don't know how she survived, but she needed to cope with something. And alcohol is numbing. It softens. It takes your mind somewhere else. So Doris, I know, was drinking when she was pregnant. So I was born with what is called, with what I have learned, it's called an ism. I'm born with the allergy. So I do believe that I was born with that allergy. Doris's apple juice always tasted different. Everything was always just different. And at 14, my older brother, Vincent, had a birthday party, and it was a little bit of a dress up party. It was a costume party. And there was a lot of attention with Vincent in the other room. And I went behind the bar. It was this beautiful bar. It was so late 60s, early 70s. It was fantastic. And I went behind the bar and I got Bacardi and I poured it in a glass and I took the drink. And it was magical. From the moment it hit my lips to my tongue to the back of my throat, it was this elixir that something changed. It felt familiar. It felt new. It felt exciting. And I got drunk, and the entire birthday then became about me. I got the attention. I got the fame. I got something I didn't know that was missing in my life. So I drank until I was 14. I always socially drank. Some of my best times in my life were drinking with my mother. Some of the best times in my life were drinking with my father, and it was about the event of it. I didn't always drink to fall down and get drunk. I had major pockets in my life. And again, by God's grace, shouldn't be here. I really shouldn't. The things that I did, how reckless, driving with one hand over my left eye so I could drive, swerving across the road.
Wow.
One night I remember driving home. It was pouring rain. I'm driving home. I was hours away from home and I'm looking at the fireworks on the left side of my window. It's pouring rain. My car is driving up against the median on the freeway and I didn't die. So I feel so grateful that I'm alive and always wonder, like, why me? Why did Gregory and I get spared? Why are we so lucky? Because when you hear other people's stories, you hear the story of my mom died, my father died. You hear other people share the stories of people that died from this disease. My mother died from this disease, but why me? Why did I survive? That's why I don't talk about that part.
And why do you think? So when you ask yourself that question, what's the answer?
Doesn't come up that much. I have almost 20 years of sobriety under my belt. I share my story in a 12-step program whenever I'm asked. And it's not about the history, it's about the joy you have once you stop drinking and stop using, drugs. So I feel whenever it's brought up, I have no problem talking about it. But to think about being spared, and you know me, like when we first started talking, I have no problem. I am an open book. How dark it was, the devastation. I have no problem at all. But to sit in this space with you, I probably don't go through the history of it. I probably tap
Mhm.
into it, but to
Yeah.
sit and think about, I'm just gonna, I feel very comfortable with you. I'll just tell you this. I always talk about alcohol and drugs being a part of my story because I think you have to be very transparent. On one of the last nights before I got sober, before I went to camp, I call it camp. I went to a facility to help me. I was sitting at my computer and I Googled what are the ramifications of alcohol and drugs. And it said heart attack, stroke, death. And I sat here exactly where I'm sitting now because I just bought my house, and I had cocaine here, sitting here, and it said, "If you do X, Y, and Z, you will die." And I did it. That's how dark it got because I didn't care. And that to me is when it all changed because I thought if I survive that. And then here's the thing, long story short, a woman sent me a text on St. Patrick's Day, and you wore it, that green medallion paradise top. There's
It was
pictures of
beautiful.
you when I first launched, and she posted a photo of herself in it and said, "I bought every 5 print I bought all the prints and all of that." She said, "You made me feel beautiful." And I feel this isn't about selling clothing. This is nothing about that. But I feel that God kept me here. I feel that God kept me here for that moment, not about me. It's never about me. I feel that God kept me here for that woman to have that moment. And I think that's what our mission is in life. Like you're helping people heal. You're helping people address stress. You're helping people so their life is just a little better. So I feel God has kept me here to make somebody's day just a little better.
And you do every single day. And you are spot on. There's always a reason. And sometimes we don't see the reason for our pain until we're gone and somebody else sees it. But I think you're 100% right because what you are doing and making women feel beautiful. And if it were enough for just what you did for me in that moment backstage when I was able to collapse and be vulnerable, like that's reason enough. What was the turning point for you from
Yeah, I hit ro I
cocaine
hit
and
ro
I could die?
I hit rock bottom. I hit rock bottom. I'll tell you this quickly. Rock bottom is when you're at the end. Rock bottom is that point of you have nowhere else to go. And I had 2 bottoms. And again, I shouldn't be here. I shouldn't. I'll tell you 2 things quickly. I was outside of my house. I felt I was going to die. My heart, because of the cocaine, was pounding through my chest, and I didn't see any light at the end of the tunnel. So I had prepared to die. Cleaned up my house, took a shower, got dressed, went outside, and I had the phone next to me, and it was a full moon, and I was looking up. And Kirsten, it was interesting because I had given up and I was done. I was done, done. And I looked up, and it was such a peaceful moment, and it was a full moon. And I said, "Mom, I'm coming home." I was done. I had nothing left. And I looked up and I said, "Mom, I'm coming home." And I closed my eyes. I had 2 major God shots. And the next image was of my funeral. And I filled the house. I remember how everybody showed up to celebrate me. Fantastic. Ego in full display. I don't know who these women were, but there was this moment of this other woman that leaned to her friend and she said, "Pain. He died of cocaine." I remembered I was in the pew behind them. This woman turned, but there was such disgust in her voice. I thought, oh my God, that's my legacy? Snapped out of it. I snapped out of it. I woke right up and I called Gregory and I said, "I'm in trouble. Something's happening. I'm in trouble." Came to my house. He helped me. He rescued me. That was bottom number one. Bottom number two is when I started lying, doing more cocaine, and I was on the road to hell. My body had shut down, everything shut down, and I called Gregory and my best friend Sherry, and I said, "I need you. I'm in trouble, and I've been lying." They showed up at my house. They took care of me. And I knew that I needed to get into a recovery program, but I didn't know how to do it. And I knew I needed rehab, but I didn't understand it. And a couple nights later, Gregory and I were at a restaurant and we were talking. Now, mind you, ego was in play. And I was the reporter on a TV show called Extra. I had some recognition. And I said to Gregory, having cigarettes, drinking alcohol, I said, well, if I go to rehab, I'm going to be recognized. I'm a celebrity. Like, how do you put a celebrity in rehab? That phrase is very specific. Well, how do you put a celebrity in rehab? I wasn't a celebrity. I got recognized, but I was in no way a celebrity. I was on television. I had done a lot of work, but I wasn't of a celebrity status. Long story short, at that restaurant that night at dinner, I was very, very drunk. Gregory and I were sitting next to two beautiful girls, and we kept talking. What do you do? And they were engaged, but not really giving us anything. I became belligerent. There was another man named Steve who came and sat down, and Steve just wouldn't talk. We're at a restaurant. Restaurant is packed. I'm drunk. I have an addiction. I didn't know what to do. And I finally said to Steve, and I quote, Steve, dude, you're not drinking. I don't know. What do you do? And he looked at me and he said, put celebrities in rehab. I went upstairs to the bathroom, started to cry. And I came down and I said, I'm dying. You sat here for a reason. I'm dying. And that was on a Wednesday night. I was in rehab on Friday. That was the turning point. The fact that it's a restaurant, the fact that it's packed, the fact that I had said again, how do you put celebrities in rehab? What do you like what? So that was the moment it started. I was there Friday. I had 30 days of learning a new way of life. And on July 29th, I have 20 years. And every single thing has changed. Do I still have addictions? Yes. You'll hate this, and I'm going to look at your face when I say it. Sugar. I struggle with it. It's the devil. It's dark. It's awful. I go through phases where it's good. I go through phases where it's bad, but I don't got that much else where I get to escape, but baby steps one day at a time.
Listen,
So,
and you will never, never be judged by me, and I hope
so
other
that.
people as well. And sugar is not alcohol or cocaine. So, hey, we'll take sugar. And that's common, right? For people who don't know addiction, like when you stop drinking, sugar is where you go.
Well, because we like the thrill, we like the feel, we like the high. But sugar is the caffeine and sugar. Look, hold on. I've got both.
Oh, funny.
I've got my caffeine and my my sweetener. Those are the two biggest addictions in the world, caffeine and sugar. Those two literally. And I go through phases where, look, here's the thing. I've said to you before, oh my God, help me get healthy. So I feel that also part of me doing your podcast, thank you for asking me, is also me being indulgent, being like, okay, when the student is ready, the teacher appears. You
Yeah.
help me. You help me. Like when I get stressed, I go to a bite of a cookie. It literally is my go-to. 3 seconds of joy is a night of not sleeping.
So, where can you go instead? What tools do you have?
I feel that Gregory and I struggle with this together. We just go to the sugar. What could the tools be? Could be a piece of fruit. Could be an apple. I like the, and I take it back to when I was drinking and doing cocaine. I liked the event of it. And I've realized like, I like the event. Like before we do an hour show on QVC, I like going through the clothes. I like picking the shoes. I like doing the jewelry with I would do the perfect Grey Goose martini up dry cold, ice on top. It was the frozen martini glass. It was the perfect olives. It was the shaker. It was the
Mhm.
crush with the cocaine, the dealer, the this. So I think for me, it's the same thing. I go to Beverly. I'm going to look at your face when I say it. DoorDash, Beverly Hills Cookies. I call them. It's 40 minutes. It's the choosing. It's at my house. I get the cookies at 8 p.m. I put it in the freezer. I like my frozen. It's the event. It's taking the cookies out of the box because they write, thanks, Lawrence. Great seeing you. Again, it's opening the box. It's the event of it. So I would think I just need to create a new event.
You do. Right. And I
That's
think
what
that
I
happens
think.
for people who have addictions as well, because it's the ritual of sitting down with the whiskey in the evening and the glass, and your body remembers. So it's a move to, and addiction is an actual thing that you will always deal with. So it's not just, oh, I need to change the ritual, but it does need to be changed for people who maybe aren't dealing with hardcore addiction like you, to I'm going to have the tea. I'm going to have the ritual of the tea and I'm going to get the really great tea bags and I'm going to get the beautiful teapot and that type of thing. Or for some people, and I know this happens a lot after getting clean, it's exercise. And even that can be an addiction because you are healthy in other ways, for
Yeah,
sure.
but I will say this though. Yeah, but unfortunately, Gregory and I are both like, and let me just say this. I am so at peace with my mom and my dad. I literally, I miss my mom and I miss my dad who happened to be my friend. I don't miss my dad. I miss my friend who happened to be my father. Two completely different experiences. And again, they had no tool. Like my father's father was an alcoholic. Again, the ism, the allergy. They had no tool to be parents. And I say this all the time, and you as a parent will understand this. You have your parents. Parents do. Larry and Doris did the best they could with the tools they were taught, one. And number two, the choices they needed to make or had to make or made in any given moment with the tools they were given. My mother apologized. My dad apologized. I just feel that Doris just didn't eat. Doris always said, I wanted to die young, rich, and beautiful. And then she always said 2 out of 3. My mother was beautiful. And my mother wanted to die rich, skinny, and beautiful. She did not eat. So I feel she would have mashed potatoes. German girl. She would love her potato salad mit Schnitzel and Kartoffel. So she didn't have great eating habits. And I feel that Gregory, and he talks about it. Gregory does not eat. He's getting better. He's been on this fitness journey. His husband, John, is very much like you, committed, regimented, healthy. I've gained 25 pounds with the chips, with the cookies, with the M&Ms. So John is like, not today, Satan. And he's lost weight. He's in shape. So I feel, yes, exercise can be the next addiction, but it's the eating where Gregory and I struggle because it opens up that whole bag. Do I have an eating addiction? Yes.
You have to have a why. So what's your why then? What would be your why for giving up the sugar?
Damn you. What is my why? I would give up, well, I mean, I break it down. I would give up sugar because it makes me healthy. And if I give up sugar and it makes me healthy, healthy because I can be here and do what I love. And if I'm here and I get to do what I love, I'll just feel better doing it. The sugar high in the morning is awful, awful. But it's the bridge. It's that bridge. It's why you're here. It's why you're doing what you're doing. I look at you and I think you have to. Do you see how my body got like? Do you see literally see what happened? I got uncomfortable. I got nervous. I think you're the bridge. Like I was your bridge. God put me with you that day on that show to be the bridge. So I feel like you're the bridge for me. You're the bridge for all of us.
I do the same thing that you do about your mom. My mom struggled with her weight her entire life. She was a major stress case. And we were on diets together because I struggled with my weight when I was younger. And like we did all the diets, the beet diet, the juice cleanse, the frozen yogurt diet. That was a fun one. And weren't healthy. She didn't cook, but she didn't know. Like we didn't have all of the science that we have that we know now that we are literally 3D printed from food in our birth mother's wombs. So everything that we put into our mouth is impacting our cells, which is impacting our brain and all of that. So I don't blame her for what we went through. But now that I have the information and I know that I don't want to, my mother died of dementia. I don't want that to happen to me. That's my why. Like I have to stay healthy, exercise, move, sauna, not eat the sugar all the time. And it's the 80-20 rule. I have to do that in order to do everything I can to be around for my children later in life when my mom wasn't around for me later in life. So that's a very, very strong why. And you might have to think about it and you might have to dig deep on that. I would guess the high that you get from being on QVC, being on Kelly Clarkson, and not just being on there, but touching women, millions of women every single day and making them feel better about themselves. I think your why is somewhere in there.
I 100%, 100%. And obviously we're meant to be here for this. Do you sauna every day? Because I've been doing some research on it. And they, no,
You
but
should
they just,
totally sauna. So sauna actually we're learning is as important, almost as important as exercise. And especially if you're somebody who doesn't exercise all the time or can't or won't or whatever, you're getting that same kind of cardiovascular and detox. So I try to do it 4 to 5 days a week. The only thing that I run into is having to wash my hair and time commitment. But 20 minutes when I do it, and I wear a sauna suit because I don't sweat well enough right away, and you want to get that sweat on as soon as possible. And it's such a great also mindfulness rest for your brain as well. So highly recommend.
And you also ice plunge,
And I cold plunge.
cold plunge.
And that for a woman, so you as a man can do that all the time and as cold as you want, and it's going to have wonderful, wonderful impacts on you. For me as a woman, I have to time it with my cycle. And also, if I'm under a lot of stress, I can't do it. And if my HRV has lowered, I can't do
Wow.
it. But that I do at least a few times a week as well during the right times of my cycle. And it has to be a little bit warmer for a woman. So it's got to be around 50 to 55, whereas a man can go down to like 30, 40. But both of those are great stressors on the body. Like those are the good stress that we're trying to get and then getting rid of the bad stress like the sugar.
Let me ask you this then. Like my moment was my two near death moments. That was the moment where I'm like, oh no, I want to be here. What was the moment for you when you were like, oh, I have to be healthy?
Yeah.
What was your turning point?
It was early 2010. We were at UCI, University of California, Irvine. My mom had undergone some cognitive testing, and I had both babies. So my babies were like 6 and 8 months old, or they're 5 months apart. So they were very close. And I had them with me, and we walked into this room, and a doctor walked in and he put up a brain scan on my mom's, and there was dark spots. And my mom had had cancer. My mom, twice. She was always on things like antidepressants. She did not lead a very healthy life, and she had dark spots in her brain. And he said, those spots that you see right there are likely a result of and being worsened by stress in her life. And she was the
Wow.
biggest stress case ever. Now, granted, my mom was probably an APOE4 carrier, which gives you a little bit more of an increase of a chance of getting late onset Alzheimer's, but late onset is like in her 80s. And my mom was 59 years old. So that's when everything changed. And I looked down at my babies because my mom really hadn't been able to be present for them being born, and she wouldn't become a grandmother like she should because she would have been the best grandma. And I said, I can't let them go through this because I was already dying watching her go through this. And I was like, I can't do this to my kids. So that's when I went back to school thinking nutrition was going to be the answer. And nutrition is a big part of it. Absolutely. Nutrition, movement, relationships, and sleep. But the overarching umbrella is stress. Like stress will kill all of that. Part of the reason that we're under so much stress is the drinking. Obviously, the drugs and the drinking will do that. Is the sugar, is the allowing ourselves to rush, 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 rush everywhere,
So then
is
how
not
did you
being vulnerable.
Yeah, but here's the thing. So like I am vulnerable. I'm an open book. I love what
You
I
are.
do. In the last couple of years, I have found a layer of anxiety that is constantly existent. And I do believe it is post COVID. I do believe that I know I do struggle with long term COVID. I've never been the same. Not to go down that road, whether vaccine, not vaccine, whatever, I can't go back and change the choices that were made, but something is chemically different in me. There's a level of anxiety, there's a level of depression. I have tinnitus, which is something I've never had. And I do know that the COVID virus attacks the weakest part of your body. And I do believe that because of my cocaine addiction, something happened to my sinuses. I'm constantly sniffling. And with my doctor's direction, we realized I did some sinus cavity destruction. So the anxiety is there. So then let me ask you, with the working out, I do the sauna, I do my IV drips, and
Good.
NAD has been a huge. I do an
So
NAD
good.
drip. It has
So
helped
good.
4 days after I do the 500. I feel like myself again. I feel happy. I mean,
Yeah.
what are some of the other things that you feel that I can do? Because I live in LA. I fly back and forth. My airline miles are through the Mr. Zarian, welcome back. Hello. When I'm traveling, when I'm at QVC, getting to the gym is sometimes non-existent because our hours are crazy, but you're there at 10 o'clock in the morning. And so you tell me, I'll take your advice.
Well, sometimes the advice isn't what people wanna hear. I mean, sometimes it really is lifestyle changes that you have to I mean, I left QVC. Did I really, really, really want to? God opened the door to say yes and give me that, but I knew I had to make the change because the stress was gonna be too much doing 15, 20 years of those types of hours, of the
Oh,
overnights and the things
wow.
like that, and I knew that those babies in my arms and my mom's black spots were more of a why than I need to be on TV at midnight, right? So sometimes you have to make the hard decisions. Now that's a big mindset change. Then we can go back into, and I would always encourage everybody that to make as many of the changes in their lives to preserve their sleep that they can, because sleep is where your brain heals, that's REM, and your body heals, that's deep. You can't get to any of your goals in life. You can't fix your weight, you can't fix your tinnitus, you can't fix your anxiety, your depression, any of that if your brain and your body aren't healing and you're not getting enough sleep. So
That's where I
people are like,
struggle.
"Well,
That's where I
what can I
struggle.
do? What can I do?"
That's where I
Yeah.
struggle.
So
I
that's
don't
the
sleep well.
very first place that you go. And there's a lot of things we can do for sleep. I do the 3-2-1 rule that we talk about on the podcast all the time. There's supplements that I love. I
Wait,
love
what is that?
magnesium.
What is 3, 2, 1?
3 hours before bedtime you stop eating. 2 hours
Hold on,
before
hold on, wait,
bedtime you stop.
hold on, just stop. Okay, that's mean. 3 no, seriously, like, you're a horrible human being.
I
So wait,
know.
so seriously, awful.
Yeah.
So I
And
stop
then
eating.
2 hours, yeah. So you stop eating
Okay,
when? Right before bed?
you're looking at me. No, I wouldn't say right before bed. Here's my thing. My addiction is at the end of the day, order my food, sit on my bed, watch TV. And then
Yeah.
so I'll probably okay, I literally that was the best look ever. That was my favorite look. Yeah. Okay, so 3 hours no food, that's 1. What's 2 hours?
Gets worse. So then 2 hours before bedtime, nothing to drink, like, you can have sips of water, and
Okay.
stop making decisions. That means you're not looking at your phone and you're not answering emails, but it goes farther than that because when you're watching TV, your brain is making micro decisions. Do I like this color? Do I wanna keep watching? What's gonna happen next? Like, you're making a whole bunch of decisions. So turning off a TV is a or and not scrolling social media, that's the ultimate form of decision making that gives us brain fatigue because we're like, oh, do I want to see the next thing? Do I like the color? Do I like the sound? Like all of that. So stop making decisions and stop drinking. And then 1 hour before bedtime, that's when the lights go down. I like red light bulbs in spaces where you're going to be when it's after dark. That really helps with your circadian rhythms. It's reading, it's talking to a friend, it is not looking at screens. So that's 3, 2, 1. It's not what you're doing right now. It's baby steps, you know? These are things that take a long time to work on. Your
So then
your
let's so then let's
relationship with sleep.
so let's do this then. Like, he's going into those movements again. So let's do this. Let's do the here's the thing. I think once you know better, you do better.
The thing is there's some it sounds easy too. Like I will give this to people and people are like, "Okay, well, okay, 3, 2, 1, but like where's the fancy glasses and where's that thing where you like lay down on your back and put your legs up in the air before bed and where's the supplements?" And listen, I have all of those things and I can help everybody with those. But if you're not getting the 3, 2, 1, your body isn't ready and you're not aligned with your circadian rhythms and you're not getting melatonin production, those other things are kind of just band-aids. And that's not what we want. We want true lifestyle changes that are going to help you live healthy longer and be happy and joyful. Like that anxiety that you talk about, that's real. Now, part of that comes with age. It does. And I would also say if I was working with you as a client, we need to get your gut tested. The nose thing totally can be connected to the gut. Like that's a huge thing. Gut testing will also tell you how your hormones are doing and
H-
histamine reactions that you might
How
be
do you
having.
get your gut tested?
It is a poop test. I'll put links in the show notes for everybody as well. I like to do it through Designs Through Health and Designs for Health. And then most people have an aspect of leaky gut, which is fueling that anxiety and that depression, which is fueling the things like the runny nose constantly and the histamine reactions. So, and the lack of sleep. So that's something else that I would definitely tell you to be doing. If you can't get in the exercise, I would say get yourself a tracker and make sure you're getting 7 to 10,000 steps. So, QVC is this
No, no,
huge place.
no. My steps are bananas. Yeah,
Good.
my
That's great.
steps are bananas. And then
Also,
so
for you traveling back and forth all the time, I would up those IVs before and after planes.
like crazy, and then I do these little immune shots every time I get on the plane. I also do Neosporin in my nose because that also helps
Interesting.
capture. You do a little bit
Fair.
of a rub the Neosporin, and then it helps catch any sort of viruses or things that go up in your nose. I also still wear masks. I have a mask with me if I'm sitting next to somebody that's coughing or sneezing. And I'm like,
Yeah.
all right, you. So I do that just to be as precautious. I'm constantly washing my hands, constantly doing my hand sanitizer. And then I also don't do it all the time because I also think our body needs to fight
We do.
immunities. But I'm fascinated by the leaky gut thing. I just got all my blood work back, and I'm healthy. I
That's
also
great.
I come from strong, good stock, but I'm interested to dip my toe into this leaky gut thing in regards to the sniffling and those types of things could be related to.
Totally could be related to it. And for sure, the anxiety could be related to it. Dr. Stephen Gundry, who works with us at QVC, he has a new book that is out in April. So it will already be out by the time this airs. That is all about that gut brain connection. And actually, so interesting. You have to read this book too, because the gut, now they're saying, influences addiction. So the gut is telling the brain to be addicted to things. So it is huge room for improvement. And honestly, fixing leaky gut, or if you have like a fungal overgrowth or, the bad bacteria and not enough of the good bacteria, it's really not that hard. You just have to know.
It's just making the right choices on what you eat. All right, I think my first step is to get my sleep in order. I think that's the biggest.
Got to get your sleep in order. But let me ask you this. What could you change? I mean, if you talk to people about your life, your bi-coastal life, all the things you're doing, what could you change in order to get better sleep?
It's the eating. I think that's the big
Okay.
it's my routine. It's I used to not be a late night eater. And then when the pandemic hit, I had a very bad I ruptured my Achilles tendon. Awful. So awful. God save me again. Long story for another time. I was staying with my brother and his husband, and my friend Milena brought me this big basket of popcorn and licorice and things like that. So I got into this routine of because I love the event of the movies, going to the movies, having popcorn, having licorice, having M&Ms. I don't drink sodas, but I would do a Diet Coke every now and then. And so I just got into the habit of having popcorn. So I do a little popcorn every night. And having said that, I know it's not good for me, but I'm like, well, I don't do this. I can do that. But I'm an addict. So I would think just if I want my popcorn and I go to bed at 11, just stop at 8. Just have a couple
Yeah.
things and just stop.
Have your popcorn early.
So I feel that that is attainable.
Good.
I would say for me, knowing me, I would do it 2 hours before and then step
Okay.
into 3, all or
Baby
nothing.
steps.
I
Right.
would say the gray areas where I like to sit. I don't think everything is all or nothing. I don't believe in black or white. I feel if we as humans don't come together to meet in the middle, we're going to lose everything, meaning health, happiness. Like we have to meet. It's not your way or my way. You're going to give me information. It's my life to live. I can take that information and just choose different things. But there has to be a yin and a yang. There has to be a give and a take. There has to be my dad always taught me, give me another reason to listen and to learn.
And that goes back to your why too, when I asked that question. Cause hey coach, give me information, give me information. What should I do? Okay, but I can't make you do it.
Mhm.
You have to have a why. You have to have a desire
What's
within
my
you.
why? I love that.
And that's something, yeah, to be thinking about. I want to ask you, you're doing everything right now. I mean, you've got KTLA, Kelly Clarkson, QVC. What's filling you up? Like what's the best of the best? And how do you manage the stress of all of these different things at the same time?
Well, obviously, whatever I'm doing is working.
Mhm.
I do need a full time assistant. I need some help to help manage, and meaning what I don't like is I don't like I'm not the best at answering emails. I don't like having that reputation. Oh my God, Lawrence got back to me. It's awful. It's insulting to somebody else's time. So I would say with all this moving and traveling, I would say that would help the most. It's relinquishing power and control.
Yeah.
It's also being responsible for somebody else's livelihood. That's a huge stress for me. It's having somebody. So, having said that, what am I doing? I'm having a contractor come in and transform my garage into my QVC studio, like literally building a proper studio. They're invested, they're in it. They like me. She likes what I'm bringing to the table. She likes what I'm bringing to the world when it comes to fashion.
Our queen, Mary Beth Rowe, wore your dress at her retirement party. I mean, that's the highest compliment in the QVC world that you can have.
Kerstin, I mean, I saw her the other day and she said, "I think I'm wearing your red dress." And I said, "Are you kidding?" She said, "No, I bought it because I love it." She said, "At this age, at this place, with my body, I feel." Yeah, that was huge to
Yeah.
see her wearing that. And you were wearing white. Were you wearing like a white sweater or
It
something?
was
So
a white
beautiful.
strapless.
White
Yeah.
is your
Thank you.
color. That is your color.
We finally got to some spring here on
Yeah.
the East Coast. I'm like, "I'm in."
Look, here's the thing. The worst thing about all of it is traveling. I went through winter with you this year. It's
Yeah.
intense. So I think building the studio downstairs in my garage is a good thing because living and working at home can make me sick. So as you walk into my house, I have a rolling rack. As you walk into my dining room, there's another rolling rack. We're in my studio, so I've got a rack here. I've got a rack back there. I've got a rack in there, and I've got 12 Tupperwares filled. And then you go downstairs to my garage, rack, 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 rack. So I think that will help orchestrate. I'm getting rid of a lot of things. Unfortunately, we had these horrific fires in Los Angeles that were devastating. And it's another reminder of it can go away like that. So I've been able to, because I have so much clothing here, give those that have lost everything. So I feel going through getting rid of my house is sick. I need to clean. I need to get rid of the clutter. I think underneath that umbrella of taking care of my leaky gut, my house. So I think that's the first step and finding what that balance is. I'm moving to your hood for April.
Are you?
I'll be in Westchester. I see a fast walk, I see a sauna, and I see a plunge
I
in the
do.
future. Seriously, I would.
I No, we have to. You have to tell me the times. Do you have big deals, TSVs, things like that, or you're just here a lot?
No, they want me there. Number one.
Yeah. It's
They
great.
want me to be a part of it more, and the only way that the customer can learn more about me is if I'm on more. So, I also do Kelly Clarkson, so it's literally a 2-hour shot back and forth, back and forth, and I wanna
That's
see
great.
what it's like. I wanna see what it's like to be on the East Coast.
Do you have any other non-negotiable health practices that you do?
Don't drink, no drugs. I get my blood checked
It's good. It's
3
great.
times a year. So
Good.
I'm committed to that non-negotiable. I'm committed to being open to learning more. Since I've lost some weight, I feel a lot better. So I'm committed to only eating half. If I want to roll, I'll have one roll. I don't shovel anymore to where I'm about to feel sick. I think those are non-negotiables. I'm drinking as much water as possible. Look, I'm not going to lie. My non-negotiables could be a lot better. It all
No, but those are
aligns.
great.
But what you're telling me is if I'm not sleeping, I make poor choices. If I'm not doing this, this, and this. So I just think it's really sort of a little bit of a wake up call. I need to sleep. I need to make different choices. And that's what I've sort of looked at. That term is alive in 25. Thank you, QVC.
Yeah.
That if we're alive in 25, we have to do it as the reset restart. So I think those are my
Yeah.
non negotiables. I'm screaming from the rooftops, make these changes now.
Yeah. That's the headline of the podcast. Lawrence Zarian needs to sleep.
Yeah, no, no, truly.
Honestly, we do. It's very, very true. What, in your opinion, is something somebody could do today, tomorrow, after listening to this to help them reduce stress in their life?
Well, I would say this, if you're struggling with an addiction, if you feel that you are struggling with alcohol or drug addiction, you can always reach out to me on Instagram at Lawrence Zarian. I will help whoever needs it. I will help you find a solution. I will help you. So I think that stress picking up the phone is hard and tedious and heady. Send a DM. Don't be embarrassed because I will help you. I will help you. I will help you. So I feel that will help somebody alleviate stress. I would also say, one of the biggest stresses is people go to their wardrobes and they buy things to make them feel better, but they buy things that aren't their size. They buy things to lose weight. They buy things. Look, I'm a size 12. Average American woman's a 14, 16. So women will buy a size 12. I'm going to lose the weight. And I feel that whenever you go to your closet, your wardrobe, your sanctuary of style, you pull out that dress, those pants, that top, and it says 12, and you're like, oh, sort of like you say, the habit of watching TV late at night. Oh, I'm not enough. I'm fat. I hate my body. I'm this. You're programming yourself that you're not enough. So I would say, go through your wardrobe and get rid of all that shit. Get rid of it. If you haven't
Yeah.
worn it in 3 years, you're not going to wear it. You have other girlfriends that can wear it. You have other friends that don't have the money that you have or the wardrobe that you have. Gift it away, give it away, do a clothes swap party. But your wardrobe should be, because we do everything that we do. We wake up, get on your knees, thank God for another opportunity to get it right.
Absolutely.
Mally Roncoll calls it her God wake up list. God put us on his God's list of waking up. We brush our teeth, we do our prayers, we do our meditations, whatever we do, but we're all getting dressed. So you open up that wardrobe, make sure it looks good. Make sure when you open it up, I say put cedar chips, put lavender, put eucalyptus, put something in there. So as soon as you open it, that's nice. Make sure that everything's hung properly. If you can afford plastic hangers or rounded hangers, get hangers. You want closet appeal, wardrobe appeal. Make sure that everything in your wardrobe is usable and functional now. So you like what you see, you like what you feel, you like what you put on. Try my collection, beautiful. The fit, the feel, the fabric. Try it.
Absolutely.
If it's not me, Kim Gravel is the queen. You have Susan Graver who does her liquid knit. There, Mark Peters, not your daughter's jeans, like Gary Groban. We have such a Alina Villasante does beautiful
Oh, we
peace,
love
love,
Peace Love
world.
World,
But
Barefoot Dreams. There's
so
so much.
wear things that make you feel something. I will say this, the one thing that people have asked me, you're a lifestyle expert. Where did you become a designer? For 30 years, I've been in the dressing room with these women
Yeah.
that I was making over. And I always say, you can't build a house until you look at the foundation. So I would say to all these women, I've done makeovers on 20 years on Live with Regis and Kelly, Steve Harvey, right? Like every Hallmark Home and Family. I've been on TV for a long time.
A little bit.
These women would go in the dressing room and I'm like, look, we're going to bond. I'm going to ask you to feel comfortable and stand there in front of me in your underpinnings, in your bra, in your panties. I need you to look at your body. I will shut my eyes. I will hold your hand. But if you don't look at your boobs, if you don't look at your hips, at your belly, at your butt, at your thighs and see, there's cellulite. There's no cellulite. My right boob is bigger than my left. If you don't embrace your body and say, that's me at this moment, you can't move forward. I want just a little extra arm coverage. I understand that. Lawrence, I feel like, I've had 3 kids and my waist. So every single thing a woman has said to me over those 30 years, over the intimacy, over the delicate moments of her telling me what was missing, I'd go shopping then. I'd get a tank top and be like, that strap is too thin. I just want more with the strap. I want something that's gathered so there's arm coverage, but you don't have a lot of money. So why would you have to buy an A-line tank top and then another tank top? Why don't I just design both? Oh, you want something with an elastic instead of a fitted waistline. If I give you just a little extra pleat, a box pleat in the back with more gathering, extra movement, that's where I became a designer. By seeing what wasn't available when I was designing, look, I might not have known the terminology, which I know now, but my expertise is women. Lawrence, I've got a big butt. I'm a pear shape. I'm an apple shape. My husband loves my curves. I I just need to drape it better. What do you think? What fabric breathes? So that's where my expertise came from. So what is my expertise? Every single woman that trusted me to, in quotes, get naked with them, expose themselves, share their story, and they want something that stretches. They want something that
It
feels
feels
good.
good.
My girlfriends are all going through menopause. I want something that's cool, that doesn't stick, that is still figure flattering. So I feel that everything I've done led me to QVC. So that's sort of my story on why I do what I do and where my expertise came from.
And how that can help you have less stress, because that's confidence. When you open up that closet and everything makes you feel beautiful, that is taking yourself into from the sympathetic to parasympathetic, being relaxed, having rest, and having less stress.
And feeling pretty and have somebody else looking at you and saying, you look so pretty today. I know. I do. And to own it. I get so angry when you say to a woman or to another man, you look great today. Oh, I'm feeling fat. Shut up.
Yeah.
Somebody just gave you a gift. Literally shut up. I love
Take
that
it.
color on you. Take a moment. Receive the gift. Life is tough. Receive the gift, and that's God's wink.
Yeah, it sure is. I love you.
I love you. You brought out stuff that I don't talk about. Will I talk about it? Sure, if anybody asks. I'm an open book, but I feel very safe with you, and I feel so grateful that you are doing what you're doing because this is where God meant you to be. Like you're
It
helping,
is.
you're healing, and you bring hope.
Thank you. I
So
feel the
I'm the,
very same about you.
well, thank you. I'm there for a month. You, me together, playing.
Please, you're going to give me time in your schedule, and we're not going to eat 3 hours before your bedtime.
So that means we're having a slumber party because you will have to come and you will have to watch. And
Yeah,
you, if I'm not mistaken, just invited me to live with you. I
I did,
like it.
absolutely.
I know your daughter's going to love it. I'll bring books.
Well, they would love you.
I'll do it. I love you very
Thanks, my
much.
friend. Love you.
Bye.
It's about a month and a half after Lawrence and I recorded that episode, still smiling from having him on and his honesty and his vulnerability, because that is part of the way that you become closer with people is by being vulnerable. It's also a big part of the way that you heal. You need to share your story. You need to get it out there. But I felt like we missed something in the episode, and that was a offer to you of help. If you are struggling with addiction, if you are struggling with alcohol, drugs, food, shopping, any type of addiction, please know that you're not alone, that our Jesus loves you so much. He's sitting right there next to you, walking through this darkness with you, helping you, loving you through it. No judgment, no shame. It's the first thing that you hear usually out of my mouth on this podcast in the open, is that this is a judgment-free zone. If you are an alcoholic, you are not being judged, you are being loved. Get help. I know in my family, Alcoholics Anonymous, rehab have been huge tools. Al-Anon has been a lifesaver for me. If you are a child of an alcoholic, if you are a spouse, if your son or daughter is an alcoholic or struggles with drugs, get into Al-Anon. It is all free online. It can be virtual. It can be anonymous. Just like it says, you don't have to talk. You have to listen. You will find hope. Please get help. Also, reach out to JR. Go back and listen to the episode of JR, spiritual director. He can help you through that. He's been there as well. And he can help you through this season as well. If you're not sure, if you have an unhealthy relationship with drugs or alcohol or shopping or food, and you're just not sure, can I lovingly tell you there's probably something there. You probably need to get some help. You can't do it alone. There are very few things in this life that we can do alone, and this is not one of them. I will put some links to some resources in the show notes. And if nothing else, reach out to me. Find me on my website. Ask for some help. I can send you in the right direction. But understand that you're not alone. Help exists. And our God is bigger. There is no shame. He only wants to lovingly help you get better. Next week, finally, after 6 months of the StRest podcast, you get to ask me anything. It's my very first AMA, as they say in the biz. Ask me anything. I've taken some of the top questions that you've asked literally over the years, and I've put them into one great solo episode. For sure, we're going to be talking about supplements, but so much more than just that. Now, if you missed your question in this AMA, be sure to email me, put it in the comments, respond, find me on Instagram, all the things to be able to get your question in the next AMA. But you're not going to want to miss this, because this is where you get to have your voice heard. It is coming up next week on StRest. If you're enjoying the show, don't forget to subscribe and leave a review on your favorite podcast platform. Your reviews help others find the podcast and join our community. Follow me on social media at Kerstin.Lindquist for daily tips and inspiration. And visit my website at www.Kerstin-Lindquist.com to sign up for our newsletter and receive exclusive content. The information provided in this podcast is for informational and educational purposes only and should not be considered a substitute for professional medical advice, diagnosis, or treatment. Always seek the advice of your physician or other qualified health provider with any questions that you may have regarding a medical condition. The host of this podcast is a certified health coach and medical researcher, not a licensed medical professional, and the content shared does not constitute medical advice. While we strive to provide accurate and up-to-date information, we encourage you to do your own research and consult with your healthcare provider before making any changes to your healthcare treatment plans. Thank you for joining me on this journey to reduce stress and make room for rest. Remember, you're not alone. Keep coming back, share your story, ask for help, and give yourself grace.